Good morning, everyone. So it's autumn. Yesterday was the vernal equinox. Kids have been back to school for 3 weeks, so if there are germs to be brought home from school, they've started to do that as well. And now is the season when colds and flus begin to show up more than during the summer. There may also be autumn allergies that people have, or autumn sinusitis symptoms. So I'm here today to demonstrate a little massage protocol for people who come in with the common cold or with allergies or with the beginnings of flu symptoms. Most of you who are probably listening to this video already know about some Blue Poppy products, for example, the old standby cold quell, which if you use this product now may be the time to order a bunch of it in advance of fall, patients with colds coming in. So depending on where you are in the country, you are more likely to see either wind cold or wind heat. Most parts of the United States and the Western world in general, we see more wind heat than wind cold. I think you have to be further north or living in a climate where, I don't know, where there's not central heat. So, you know, if you live in Nepal or you live in China, certain parts of China, maybe not. But in the West, we see more wind heat. So what do we notice with that? There might be a fever. There could well be a headache with either wind cold or wind heat, but there'll be a sore throat. That's the common denominator symptom for wind heat invasions, whether they end up manifesting as the flu or as a cold, or they end up in the head as a sinusitis, or whether they end up in the chest as a cough. So I have a few products to help me out with this demonstration that I can show you that I would use, that I would have in my clinic if I were going to treat people with these symptoms. So let's jump right into the demo. Now, you may want to use, I have Bill here to help me, to be my model. You may want to use different products, which is fine, and you may want to use acupuncture. And certainly you can use acupuncture for this, but the common denominator for me is that there's nobody that doesn't like Tuina. Some people like needles, some people don't like needles. Often with the common cold, you have to put needles in people's head, notably large intestine 20, possibly Bai Hui, possibly Yin Tong, possibly Tai Yang. There's a number of possible points that you might have to use. And some people don't like needles in their head. So this is an option that you can use with or in lieu of needles. So the first movement that I was taught by my teacher in Shanghai is where you grasp the 3 main channels on the top of the head. So the middle finger is working back on the dumai. The index finger and ring finger are on the bladder channel. The thumb and the pinky are on the gallbladder channel. So you're working back from the front of the head. You might want to support the person's head. For this particular movement, you're not going to use any liniment or medium of any kind because you're in the person's hair. So you may support their head in the front if that feels better. You may support it in the back at the occiput. And you're going to do that movement 2 or 3 times. Then you're going to start on the parietal area inside of the head, the gallbladder channel, and you're going to do scratching with the thenar eminence of your hand. You're going to do scratching along the side of the head, down behind the ear to what, from our point of view, is gallbladder 20 point. So you're starting right where stomach 8, and then going back to the side, down the side behind the ear. Again, you're going to do this movement 2, 3, 4 times. People usually like this. Then you're going to do the other side. One of the things about Tuina is that to be really good at it, you have to be ambidextrous. Then the next movement is rubbing down the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Now, there's a number of mediums that you might want to use for that. This is Dr. Bob's oil, and this is the stick version of Dr. Bob's oil called Pain Stick. Either one of these will work to make this area more easily workable. With children, I suggest that you make a juice out of fresh ginger. You just macerate the ginger, put a little water in it, and use water with ginger in it as your medium. If the person has a fever, you might prefer 3 Angels liniment, which clears heat if the person has significant heat or they have a fever. Or if you want a more plain oil, I would use the Blue Poppy Sports massage oil for any movements where an oil base is indicated. So basically you're taking your thumb and you're sliding it down the SCM muscle from the ear all the way down to where it meets the clavicle. You're going to do that 3 times, 4 times on each side. Again, you're trying to take the heat out of the person's head and soothe their throat. After you've done that, we're going to the back of the occiput where energy always gets stuck back here. And you can either use a regular grasping motion this way, so you're on somewhere in between gallbladder 20 and bladder 10 and on mien, all those points on the back of the neck, and you're going to work that for 2-3 minutes. Or if you like to do one finger pushing, you can support the side of the other side of the head with your arm and do one finger pushing on this, if you're good at that movement. And that's usually very comforting to people. Make sure your thumbnail is clipped. Other side. So 2-3 minutes on the back of the neck, and then if people have a cold, what we know is that the chi is all trapped and stuck in the upper and outer parts of the body, and so the shoulders are going to be tight. So you're going to either do a rolling method on the shoulders, on both sides, or grasping, or some combination of those 2 things. Then if you want to, you can end the treatment supporting the back of the head using the index and middle fingers on large intestine 20, just pushing in on large intestine 20, that point called welcome fragrance, i.e. the person could smell again. So 2-3 times of pushing on that point. And then in China they would start all over again with grasping, going back, scratching along the side, pushing down the SCM muscle, grasping the back of the occiput, rolling method or grasping method on the shoulders, pressing the 2 points on the front, and then possibly what you would do is pull that energy down and out the arms. Don't help me. Okay, so that would be a full treatment. You could do it for 5 minutes if you have 5 minutes. You could do it for 15 minutes if you have 15 minutes. So that would be a basic treatment for a person who's coming down with a cold, especially a wind heat. Or you could use this for headaches. You could use this same treatment for headaches. If the person has a headache, I would add supporting the person's head on your breastbone up here, and then pulling out from yin tang to tai yang with your middle finger 3-4 times. And if the person really has a headache and a fever, This is when Dr. Bob's oil is nice because it has peppermint in it, so it's cooling. The boha is cooling. So you could use it for this movement as well. So this would be added if the person also has a headache. So thank you very much. I hope you're successful at treating your autumn patients, whatever they have, and especially if they have the common cold. Thanks for watching.